First lesson of a topic on the Persian Empire for GCSE Ancient History. So we're going to learn about the rise, the origins of the Persian Empire, to understand its scale, its achievements, and apply this knowledge. Near East is a term for what you can see on a lot of this map here. Not the Far East, that's China, India. The Near East is the area here. Syrian, Mede is a people, Babylon, city, Jews, Lydia, a country, Ionia, Greeks. Topography, the shape of the land, is it flat, plains, mountains? Cyrus the Great, first great king of the Persian Empire. Achaemenid Empire, another name for Persian Empire, and Darius the Great, another later king. Harem, when you have loads of wives. And a king has hundreds of wives. Those hundreds of wives are called a harem of wives. So, who are the Persians? Persia is a name one day is called Iran. If you want to figure it, remember it here, modern day Iran. Originally, we think the Persians aren't nomads. I mean, they were wanderers. They didn't live in cities. They travelled around, and they were horsemen originally. I mean, later on, they grew, built cities, all sorts of things, but originally, horsemen, nomads from Central Asia. So where is the Persian Empire? Like I say, it covers Central Asia, and it, in modern day terminology, was colossal. Egypt, Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, parts of India, Central Asia, parts of Arabia. The Persian Empire was one of the earliest world empires, and it was massive. How did it come about? Well, who do they succeed? Who do they take over from? Succeed means take over from. Well, there was a thing called the Neo-Assyrian Empire, the Assyrians, and they ran the area, lots of it, for hundreds of years. Very warlike people. They were overthrown by the Babylonians and the Medes in about 900 BC and destroyed. And then in 600 BC, the Medes rose up and destroyed the Babylonians. So the Medes were in charge. And then at 550 BC, the Persians start, led by their first great king, Cyrus. He wasn't called Cyrus the Great when he was born. The Great is a title you're given usually after your death because you've achieved great things. And in 550 BC, he begins his massive conquest and takes the Persians from a little tiny tribe, really, to the rulers of a gigantic empire. He fights the barbarians in Scythia, which is where he finally dies. Gets into a war in Lydia, a king called Croesus. Yeah, we'll talk about that more in a future lesson. But essentially, through conquest, through warfare, Cyrus conquers most of this huge area of land we talked about. So what makes an empire an empire? Conquest. Nobody volunteers to join an empire. The Persian Empire was warlike, had to be. That's how you became an empire. It conquered all these areas. Topography. The Persian Empire, as you can see from this chart here, it's mostly sort of deserty land and mountains. So vast empire, lots of its plains and deserts. This bit here is the hardest thing. That's where Babylon is. That's where the good land is, and Egypt as well. And around the fringes is good land. But mostly quite arid, dry, deserty, mountainy areas. And thousands of miles across. Why is it sometimes called the Achaemenid Empire? After the family, Cyrus's family that's a guy called Achaemenus, and so they're called the Achaemenid Empire. So if you read that in a book, Achaemenid Empire means Persian Empire. What happens when Cyrus dies? So in 530 BC, said to have died fighting the Scythians. His son Cambyses becomes king for a few years. We're going to do more detailed story about him. He's a bit of a nutter. He dies, and eventually in 522, a possibly a distant relative or no relative, a man called Darius becomes king, and later becomes Darius the Great.